What's up? Welcome to the Odyssey. In this episode of Sketch Scheme, I excitedly recreated the Joker teaser picture from Telltale's Batman: The Enemy Within. And for those who don't know what Sketch Scheme is, it's just what I call my drawing videos and overall just videos like this in general, just art videos in general. So I do feel like talking about a couple spoilers here. So if you haven't seen the last episode of Batman: Enemy Within, check out the playthrough I did of it on my gaming channel. It's called Ready, Set, Win. The link to it will be in the description below. But otherwise, if you don't really mind, then hey, I'm still here, right? So I must say, this is one of my most favorite tongue twisters. Wow. Representations. This is my favorite representations of Batman and the Joker. Of course, my all-time favorite Batman is still the animated series one. Same goes for Joker. But the origin, I should say, of Joker here, yo, I felt so gripped and really was rooting for the character I had created. Well, at least until the end, I should say. It was so amazing because in this story, if you don't know, you essentially, it's almost like a choose your own adventure. You create single-handedly the character who is known as John Doe in this story, who can either become a vigilante Joker or the Joker that we all well know. And oh man, from the edges of my seat the whole time, it was ridiculous. So gonna make a quick announcement here too. Be sure to see and look forward to some more full-on coloring pictures in the future. I do miss using my markers and paints, so I look forward to bringing them back. And I remember in my first couple videos on this playlist, I did talk about how I was going to focus more on doing that stuff too. But I did want to focus also on my realism and shading, which I've been doing as well. So I need to get back on track with having the balance between that and the coloring. I had such a blast creating this. Out of all the Jokers I've seen, honestly, this is my favorite too. A fallen friend, a fallen hero. That's what he was called in this story by the end of it all. And I just had to say this again real quick. It was just so good. Someone who may not be able to be a Batman or live up to that particular dream of being a good Joker, but still someone who my version of Bruce doesn't give up on, even after all the things that go down, because like I said, he ends up wanting to be a good guy, but at the end of it, he realizes he can't. His mentality won't allow him to be, and he ends up being a bad guy, essentially. Or more so just a fallen friend, fallen hero. So along the lines, more like an anti-villain, I should say. Yeah, I wouldn't really say anti-hero because of his mentality and kind of the disorder that comes with it. He's obviously insane to a degree, so yeah, there's that. And there was something else I wanted to say regarding that, but I cannot remember. I'm trying to remember what it was exactly. Because he idolizes you, like he kind of does in the comics too. He idolizes you a bit more in an innocent way, because he actually wanted you to like him, be friends, and all that stuff. Whereas the bad Joker's more like, yeah, I'm not gonna kill you, even though I really want to, but we need each other. You know, that sort of thing. Not like that. So anyway, while drawing this and playing through that story, I cannot wait to bring my own stories and my original characters into the light. Expect some more original stuff from me soon too. It's just like looking back at this, I mean, look at this. These characters over 70 years old in the comics and still as beloved and celebrated as they were back then, if not more. And honestly, I'd say more now. When thinking about all the new ways they have delved into culture in ways that weren't even around back then, like the video games, you know? Cough, cough. Telltale. So, and Arkham Asylum and all those games too. Especially Arkham Asylum. Whew. But Telltale has made a real good impression on these games. So that's one of my biggest dreams, to create stories and characters memorable like these guys. You know, characters that won't be forgotten over time and that can always be recreated and revisited with these different stories. And it's so amazing because there's so many different ways to be seen with these characters. And I've never seen this type of Joker before. and that's why I knew I definitely had to make a picture of it. I'm sure there has been a version of it in comics before. I mean, over 70 years of comic history, I'm sure there are similarities in other ones, but not really in a game before, so that was a whole new beast of its own. And I really like the shell-shaded nature these games tend to have. So being a big, so I wanted to be a bit thicker than normal on certain lines when I started to ink it, and that was really fun. Inking for me is one of my most fun parts when finishing a drawing. Trying to improve a bit more on my shading too, so I decided to use an actual gray colored pencil instead of lead when I got to the shading part of it. So I tried to be a little light at first, try to really get a feel of the Joker picture. I wanted to make sure I got the proportions right. The chin, I messed up a couple times. I don't know if I already passed it or not. I'm looking at the picture now. I think we might have, but yeah, I wanted to make sure I got the proportions right with that. I was really feeling the way I got Joker here on the right side. In the phone, I was trying to capture it a bit better, so I was trying to figure out what I was missing just yet. I had realized that for some reason, this picture of Joker in the cell phone, it wasn't the way I originally wanted him to look. I kind of cut off a little bit of him, which I think is what made him not look as well as the picture. But anyway, usually what I do with the lines on the inside, I probably talked about this before in plenty of videos, but you know, who knows, if this is your first video of mine, I want to always let you guys know. So I always try to do a thin point pen when I do the inside of the face, and sometimes depending on the shadows, I was about to say shading, but then shadows came up for some reason. Depending on the shadows and whatever else may be in the picture, or just certain outlines like with the shell shading style here, I'll sometimes go with a thicker line, but usually I go with a, what is it, a 0.5, if I remember correctly. I'm drawing a blank for some reason. And then for the outer, I usually do like a thicker, sometimes like a Sharpie, or, you know, usually a fine point Sharpie, or the C brush that usually is included with the marker sets. Usually when it's like a 4 count marker set, there's usually like a one that's called a C. I don't know what kind of marking that actually is, or what the C stands for, but oh, chisel tip. I just caught it. So chisel tip. So the chisel tip one, that's what I usually go for the outer lines, to have like a nice thick kind of outer glow, almost not really a glow, but just a thick outline, I should say. Just I'll keep it as that. There was a bit more to this picture too, but I kind of wanted to focus on just what I have here. And the nose, I kind of was thinking, but I felt like I captured it enough as far as like my skill level goes. But I gotta admit, the nose is one of the hardest things to draw for me. Like the realistic noses, I don't know why. Well, actually, no, scratch that. I do know why. Fortunately, I know how to fix it. I just gotta watch a couple tutorials on it. Essentially, drawing a nose so where it blends in a bit more. With the shell shaded character here, it didn't really matter because all I had to do was just follow the lines and do it that way, and that was it. And I captured it pretty well, especially with the shading and all that. But with realism, that is one of my banes at the moment, trying to get it so it looks correct and all that. I know it's all come down to shading essentially, because when you look forward, especially forward, there's not many lines, especially with realism, that you can use to keep that realistic look without having it look too, I wouldn't say cartoonish, but just unrealistic, I should say, if that makes sense. For those who've had that issue too, I'm sure there's been a couple, I'm sure you know what I mean. It was kind of fun drawing his hair, but I was kind of getting bored at that moment, but fortunately it wasn't too long. I gotta admit, when it comes to hair, that's one of my least favorite parts to draw. Although the hands are close, actually the hands are the close, the hands are first, the hair is a close second, but it depends on the hairstyle. With Joker's hair here, it wasn't too bad. I didn't really get too bored. I got bored originally when I was figuring it out, but when I started inking it, I was like, okay, this is cool, because most of the time when I draw hair, I'm like, this doesn't look right. Boy, I gotta redraw this. Mainly that's why. With the hands and the hair, I get nervous, especially with drawings. So now I'm using the chisel tip. For most of my inking, I usually have the Prismacolor pencils, the Prismacolor pens, and they're pretty good. I mean, for For 4 in a pack, you pay, what was it, 12, I believe, at AC Moore, and they last a good while. I've had these for a number of years now, and I draw pretty often. I think, honestly, in the past 5 years, I've maybe gone through 2 packs, honestly. So that's not too bad. Mind you, I don't ink every picture I do, but I draw pretty often. I draw at least 3 or 4 times a week. So you figure at least half of that I do ink and stuff, so it evens out pretty nicely. This is where I had the trouble with the eyebrows. With Joker on the right side, I realized I made his eyebrows a little too thick, and I wasn't sure how at all I was gonna do Joker's eyebrows on the left side. I couldn't think of any way at all. Oh man, we're getting to the awkward part with the pink. I thought I messed up the picture when I got to that part, and so I tried to fix it, so I tried to make a darker outline around it, and then I realized, shoot, now I have this line here that I don't want to have, because now it looks even worse, like he has a reverse black eye or some mess, and I was like, no, don't let this be the bane of my picture, don't let this ruin it. So I do believe I come back to it later to touch it up a little bit more, but the final product, fortunately, was saved and wasn't ruined at all because of it, at least in my opinion. I'll let you all comment on how you feel about the finished picture as well when we get to the end here. So I definitely wanted to add some more pink here with the gloves, because the gloves match the eyeliner too. I mean, Joker's got some style. Can't argue with that. He has got some style, and he pulls off pink. Not many men can pull off pink. And it's kind of hilarious to me that some people have the mind frame of, ooh, you're wearing pink? What are you wearing pink for? It's like, it's a color, man, who cares? So this is the finished picture of Joker. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to either like, comment, subscribe, and let me know of any future content that you'd like to see from me in the future. So until next time, until the winter sales yet again, I'm out of here. Later days.